Good morning, everyone. This is Adrian and Yen here for our very first live cast. Today's topic is going to be quite interesting because it's all about accelerating your career. Career Agility International, we have always been talking about managing your career and watching to make sure that your careers get along fine. And a lot of times in the past 2 years that we've been around, we've been talking about career clarity and how do you achieve the clarity needed to move forward. Maybe it's a job switch, or maybe it's just a change of tempo. But now we're going to talk a bit more about how do you accelerate your career within your own organization. So this is a new topic and we've had lots of time to talk about it. However, we only have about 45 minutes to talk about it today. So we're going to compress it. We're just going to talk about the 5 ways that you can accelerate your career. So without further ado, I'm going to hop onto the screen. You want to say something, Yen?
No.
Okay. Okay, hi, good morning everyone again. Welcome to Accelerate Your Career with Career Agility. This is the first of several webcast series that we're going to launch. And we are planning to do it once a month, but if the popularity of this goes up and if you guys really enjoy the information that we are sharing, then we are happy to do it more often than that. And we might want to fix the timings to something a bit more amenable other than 9 a.m. in the morning. Let's see how it goes. But let's talk today about accelerating your career. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with who we are, well, we are a team of very experienced career coaches. Between us, we have over 50 to 60 years of career coaching experience, and we focus a lot on the career strategy element of managing your career. What that means is that it's not always about getting a job. It's the meaning behind going to work, the meaning behind your career, I would say. Okay, it's not always about just landing a better paying job, but we want to strive towards career sustainability as well as career happiness. So we have a nice team over here, and you only see the 2 of us, but there's a lot of people in the background who are running as well. What we do is we strive to help our clients to achieve what we call career longevity. Career longevity is an element which is often overlooked when we talk about our careers. And in terms of career longevity, just means that how do you continue working until the day you want to stop work? It could be 50, it could be at 60, it could be at 82. So how do you manage your career to ensure that you are employable until the day you want to stop? And also we want to talk about career satisfaction, and Yen will share a bit more about career satisfaction.
Career satisfaction, in my definition, it's about doing the things you enjoy doing, and that you don't have that Monday blues when you go into the office and on Sunday evening you're kind of, oh my god, it's Monday already, where did the weekend go? And that's a huge one. It's also about looking back and being happy with the way you have worked. Looking back and seeing a job well done is my definition of satisfaction.
Yeah, so we want to always strive to achieve the longevity and the satisfaction, but how do you achieve it? You only can achieve it through having clarity as to what makes you happy, having clarity on how do you stay relevant and how do you stay employable. And that is what we actually do with our clients. A little bit more about us, a quick introduction again for those who are not familiar. My name is Adrian and I'm the CEO founder of Career Agility International. We started this business 2-3 years back, and we've been conducting workshops, one-on-one coaching, and lots of exciting fun stuff as well. And Yen, you want to do a quick intro on yourself?
I have about 14 years of coaching experience. That's a long time. Prior to that, I headhunted for about 8 years. Find me on LinkedIn, and then we can talk some more. You can look at the backgrounds or look at our backgrounds from LinkedIn.
Yeah, so as you can see, we've been featured quite a lot on radio, on TV. Last Sunday, we were on the Business Times, and we were featured with regards to an outplacement, a retrenchment article, which was actually a front page news for them. And we've written books as well. 2 of them are over here. We were going to do a sales pitch.
We got to stop self-promoting.
Okay, let's go that. Okay, cool. Let's jump into the presentation proper. Okay, we want to speed through this a little bit so that you will save a lot of time for questions, because we know you have a lot of questions. It does not need to pertain exclusively to the topic at hand. If you have any burning career questions like how do I get more money or whatever it is, okay, message us. This is underpaid, overworked. ask as well. Okay, we want to spend time talking about answering your questions too. So before we jump into accelerating your career, this is a model which we have created. Okay? We know a lot of times people come to us and they're not certain what exactly they want to do with their careers. All they know is, I want to find a job. I just want to get a better paying job. I just want to get out of my job right now. But as we said earlier, getting a job may not solve your problems. You need to understand what are the underlying factors, what are the real reasons why you're leaving, and what sort of job you want to move into. But more importantly, what's my biggest itch? So a lot of times people come to us saying they're job hunters, but upon further discussion, we find out that actually they're not really looking for a job. They're actually career crossroaders. So there are three key categories of people who come to us. Number one are the career crossroaders. The crossroaders are people who effectively are asking themselves, what's next for me? Maybe I've been doing finance for the past 15-20 years and I want to try something different. Or maybe I'm an internal recruiter and I've been doing recruitment for the past 15 years and I want to try something new, something refreshing. Do I go back to the agency or do I do something else? So a lot of crossroaders hit this road bump, usually about 38 to 45. And if you're in this zone, well, you're a career crossroader. There's also those who are part two, in the second circle, who are career accelerators.
Accelerators, and what we're doing with our topic today, and that's why we're focusing on, are people who are on a steeper trajectory in their career. So you're gainfully employed, or you're safely entrenched in your job, and you're thinking, what's next? Sort of moving forward, the trajectory, is there something bigger, a larger territory, bigger responsibility, something slightly more challenging. So it's time for you to grow. That's the definition of an accelerator, looking for something a little bit bigger.
Yeah, and of course, the urgent job hunters are those who really want to get a job fast.
Yeah.
So some of them, they are not crossroaders. If they are a finance manager, they know, I want to be a finance manager. If they are accelerator, they know, I'm a finance manager now, I want to be a finance director in the next 2 years. So, urgent job hunters basically don't care. They just say, I want a new job because maybe I got a new boss who's an ass. Okay, we've all been there, we've all done that, right? Or maybe the company is going to retrench staff, so I need to get a job really fast. Or hey, I just got retrenched. I need to get something to pay the bills because I only have about 2 months worth of salary before I have to sell a kidney. And so
a lot of us are going to be a combination of one or two of the items, combination of 2 or 3. So it requires a level of clarity, which we do a lot of work in.
So if you are one question we want to pose to you now is this: are you in circle 1, circle 2, circle 3, or are you in A, B, C, or even D? If you're in C and you're all 3, it just shows one thing: you really need to speak with us. Okay, and it's all right. It's okay that you have career questions. You don't know what it is. It happens to a lot. It happens to the best of us, and honestly, it's happened to me. It happened to us many times. I don't know about her, but it's happened to me many times. Okay, because she's always had very good clarity on where she wanted to go. For me, I'm the entrepreneur profile, so and I'll try anything and everything. But today we're going to focus a lot on the career accelerators only. Okay?
Yes.
One last thing about these 3 circles. Each circle that you belong to, has its own unique set of solutions and strategies which we operate and recommend. For instance, if you're a career crossroader, you need to have the career clarity, and we do run a career clarity workshop which we have. If you are an urgent job hunter, we also have a Get Hired Bootcamp for people who really want a job within the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Let's look at the outlook for 2020. It's going to be a tough year for many sectors. I mean, originally, even before COVID-19 came around, it was already predicted to be a tough year, wasn't it?
Yes.
So sectors like hospitality, like manufacturing, going to be tough. But now with COVID-19 coming on,
Things are worse.
Things are going to be bad. Not for all sectors, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're
mass manufacturers.
Yeah, if you're in mass manufacturing, disinfectant. So here's a business idea, though. How about start selling homemade disinfectants that don't tear off the top layer of your skin when you're trying it, unless you get sued. But there are opportunities as well, but it's going to be a tough year all around for many sectors. Our advice is hunker down, stay in your job if you can. Don't be too adventurous. If there's an interesting startup, for instance, calling you up and say, "Hey, why don't you join us?"
Yeah.
It might be a bit of a risk because you don't want to be caught in a situation where where you join them, and because the market's so bad, they run out of funds, and then that's it. So hunker down if you can, unless the job is really compelling, the organization is really well funded, and the market is good. So that's something you want to look at. Even though we say hunker down in a job, prepare for opportunities, because you never know when a headhunter calls you up, or even internally, something pops up and says, hey, there's an opening in this other department. If you're not prepared, you're not gonna score a win.
Yeah.
So like what Oprah Winfrey says,
I can't remember.
she can't remember. Oprah Winfrey says, luck, it happens when opportunity meets preparedness. And if the opportunity comes along and you're not prepared, boom, it's not going to happen.
You like Oprah Winfrey?
I love Oprah Winfrey. You in a car, you in a car, you in a car. Yes, I love her. And you know what? It's not just enough to be passive and start talking about, oh, I wish a headhunter would call me up, oh, I wish I'll get promoted. We're going to talk today about creating opportunities. You have to treat your career as an asset. And what that means is that, if you have a house that you want to rent out, you don't just put there and just put up a sign for rent, right? You got to go out, talk to people, find out who are the people you want to market to. So you have to aggressively create opportunities for wherever you are. And I'm not just talking about opportunities within, outside the company, but also within the company and outside your business unit itself. Let's talk about the first way you can accelerate your career. See the big picture. What do we mean by this? When you are in an organization, a lot of times you are just looking down and hunkering down and looking at your small little patch. Our advice, no, don't just think about the little patch. Think big. Look at the market in general. If you're outside, look outside. If you're in technology, or if you're in banking, or whichever area you're in, look at the market. Are there new opportunities that haven't been tapped yet? Are there new disruptive opportunities? What is the latest trend in your market? If you are supposing in a publishing company, oh my gosh, if you're in a publishing company, get out. But if you're in a publishing company, then maybe we could ask ourselves, what are the latest trends? Maybe in terms of maybe they're having a digital arm, or maybe they need to set up a digital arm. Then how do you seize the new opportunities in these emerging technologies, and how do you push the business towards it? What we're trying to say is, look for opportunities outside which you as a member of your company can pursue and make a business case of.
So, quick summary, if anything, it's about scanning the market externally to look for opportunities that will benefit your organization, benefit your role, or benefit your team, your department, and that was our first point.
Yeah, but also, even as I'm trying to get that screen back, it's okay. So what the other area you want to look at as well in terms of scanning the big picture is look at your own organization. Okay, in terms of look at the structure in your organization. What are the skills gaps in the other divisions that you can fill? How do you create those opportunities? For instance, if you see the other department has a skill that you have, but they sorely lack, how do I then get into that space and jump in and get in terms of getting myself hired by the other department?
Sorry.
Go back. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
There
Good.
we go.
So look at also other divisions, other branches, or other business units. Are there openings there? It could be an immediate opening because they have a new need for it. How do I get myself noticed by the hiring manager? See the bigger picture in terms of what are the opportunities there. Immediate open vacancies are the most obvious ones. But then again, there might be upcoming, for instance, openings, like in terms of someone's going to retire soon, or maybe someone got a promotion, or is going to get a promotion in the next 6 months, and then how do you lobby yourself to get noticed to be next in line for that? Or maybe there's an exit, someone just got fired because they did a bad job, and you can do a better job. How do you lobby yourself into that? But in the bigger scheme of things, the big question is, how do you make yourself, for instance, succession planning? How do you get into the role so that let your bosses and your boss's boss know that you are interested in getting those positions? So internally as well, look for opportunities. And of course, the last part is, very quickly, the career ladder versus career lattice. Don't just think of your career as a ladder moving upwards. If you're in sales, you become a sales manager, sales director. Don't think linear. I want you to think lattice, as in left, right, up, down. For instance, if you're in sales, how about moving to sales planning, or even marketing, or even sales technology, or even sales force effectiveness? Don't just think linear, think adjacencies. And you know what? When you talk about career lattices, it does not need to be upwards all the time. It could be a downward shift too. So in other words, you take 2 steps back to get 3 steps forward in the long run. And of course, finally, you have to understand what is your career strategy involved. Why am I taking this pathway? Why am I taking a pay cut even, or a smaller patch, just to land up in the next role? Okay.
Can I just add that
Yes.
in the work that I do with women, especially, I don't know if it's a woman thing, but in general, our gender tends to just focus on doing their work and expecting people to notice. So help yourself by looking internally for any interesting opportunities. Step out your comfort zone, and in about 4 more points, I will talk about the internal networking. Okay.
Build your internal reputation. When you're looking at accelerating your career within the organization, you need to ask yourself, what is your brand? What exactly do you want to stand for? Because what exactly is a brand? Well, a brand is what people are saying about you when you're not in the room. Like, oh, Adrian, he's a... Okay. So you have to figure out. And what's the interesting thing? Whether you like it or not, you already have a brand.
Yes.
A good brand or a bad brand. So you have to understand what exactly is the brand you want to cultivate. And the good thing about the brand is that you can
Manufacture it.
You can manufacture, you can create it, okay? You create it and then you curate it.
Yes.
So what is your brand? What is the brand? You know, for instance, you want to be, you might want to position your brand as, oh, I'm the deal maker. In the organization, I'm the deal maker, or I'm the subject matter expert in this particular field. So if for instance, if you're a finance person and in the army of finance people in a finance company, okay, maybe you want to be the M&A specialist and you want to position yourself into a field where when a problem pops up, say, hey, you're going to call Joey or you're going to call Thomas. So you want to build your brand into that space. And then how do you propagate it? How do you let people know about your brand? Well, very easy. You have to get out of your shell and start promoting yourself. And I know, we Asians tend to be a bit more reserved when it comes to self-promotion, right?
So it is about what you want to be known for. You can deliberately create that brand, manufacture it, and then you need to reinforce it. And that reinforcement obviously comes with being consistent in doing good work. And specifically, again, I'm going to bring the feminine angle. Ladies, you need to dress for the part you want. That's actually quite crucial in your branding strategy. Okay?
Yeah, so build your internal reputation. And what do we mean by the brand? You know, once you have a brand, propagate that brand, spread that brand out to the other departments, to the other. How do you do it? Shamelessly or modestly and subtly. Well, for instance, if you want to position yourself as the champion, the sales champion, or the big winner, right? Once you close that big deal, send an email out to everybody, okay, in the organization, everybody. But don't send an email saying, hey, I won the deal. No, that's no taste and no class. Email like, oh, I would love to inform everybody that our team won this big deal worth how many $1 million over the next how many years. Thanks to the great team support of name Mr. A, name Mr. B in your team, name Mr. C in your team, name your boss, thank your boss for the opportunity, you know, and just put it out there.
So that's one example of self-promotion without the self-promotion.
Yeah, and what is cool is when the people you praise, right, what are you going to do? They're going to reply, oh no, thanks to you, we actually did it. And therefore you just got a free reciprocated okay, so that's one of the ways to do it. During our career agility workshops, which we run, we will actually teach you what the other ways of promoting yourself. Okay, tastefully, without sounding like a attention seeker.
Talk about networking. I think everyone knows the benefits of external networking. After all, you're all accelerators. You all know what it means to network externally. The benefits of external networking gives you industry information. It helps you with understanding the market, so your market scanning strategy. It helps you with getting opportunities. So that's external. I think we all know that. But internal networking is something sometimes people tend to forget. What's most important is about understanding not just what your department does, but how that interacts with the rest of the organization. So be curious with what other departments are doing. Find out how they function and how the ecosystem interacts dynamically, because that's just really just good for the entire organization as a whole. But on top of that, it helps you to share. I mean, the idea of networking is not just to receive goodwill and advantage, but it's also for you to give back. So if you can share a little bit about what you do in your department with other people, they see the interaction, and it's obviously going to be helpful for everyone. It also helps you to identify and also to network and connect with key people across the organization. So I guess the question is then, how do you then become more visible? So tying it back to the first point, and that first point was all about making sure you're visible and helping you with your branding. It's about I think some key areas you can do. Plan corporate social responsibility events. It gives you access to people you might never otherwise meet. Sometimes the organization has quarterly drinks, and you know what I hear? I hear people going, "Oh my God, they're doing it again. I don't want to go because it's after office hours." But it's always good to network with your colleagues outside of the office hours. Occasionally, you might put up your hand, raise your hand for special projects, and that may take a little bit of time away from your work, but I think it's always good to do the extra co-curricular activity, so to speak, because when you organize something, you have a reason to call across bureaucracies, and that gives you access to people again. So just to share, back when I was in IBM, I helped to organize the D&D, and that gave me a lot of access to a lot of people, because it's a corporate-wide event for 1,500 people. So it helps again a little bit with your visibility. Anything to add?
No, I think that's true, and don't forget, networking is not about attending networking events. Okay?
Oh, yes.
Networking is as long as there's a meaningful connection you make, even if it's just a brief moment, it's still important. And a lot of times people forget to network internally. And if you're in a big organization like Procter & Gamble or Shell, there are lots of opportunities to network, not just within your circle, within your sphere, but also with the other company, the other opcos, in the other countries. And one thing that's important is because when it comes for promotion time, it's about visibility. Once again, like what Yen said, if you are not on your boss's radar, okay, you're not gonna get noticed. Even if your name is slipped in, it's like, who is this Yen? I have no idea who Yen is. You know, is it a guy or a girl? Or you don't know, right? So you know. Or worse still, if you have a wrong reputation, and then they go, "Oh, Adrian, isn't he the guy who likes to make web videos?" You know, and waste time. So you don't want to have a wrong. But once again, it falls back to what we said earlier about internal branding too. So you want to curate your reputation internally as well as externally. We would love to spend more time talking about external networking, but we'll talk about that in our other workshops. So we're going to leave that out for now.
Yeah, and also the thing about networking is, I notice women tend not to do that. We have so many other roles to play, and half the time I'm rushing home. So take some time to curate your network. Yeah.
And number 4.
Okay, so it says here, get a mentor. I think everyone knows that having mentors is always useful. Why? Obviously, to learn and sharpen your technical competencies. More importantly, to help see your own blind spots. We don't see our blind spots, and sometimes we think we're doing just fine. We inadvertently step on a few toes because we don't understand the dynamics of certain groups. That's a reason why having a mentor is useful. Having external mentors is always good. I think again it's helpful because an external mentor gives you access to networking opportunities, industry updates. You're more in the know with what's going on outside. But again, the internal ecosystem is something to consider. Having an internal mentor is useful because the internal person can point out opportunities that you might not be aware of. It's also good for the overall corporate structure, if in the succession planning, obviously, as you know that. But more importantly, it's about internal opportunities. There is one little caveat with an internal mentor or a sponsor is that you're not sure how openly vulnerable you want to be. You don't want to be overly transparent with all your skeletons in every closet, because sometimes that might you might shoot yourself in your own foot. So you're limited in how much you might potentially be able to share. So the biggest point I think for this is to take note that you are allowed more than one mentor, and it does not need to be a formal arrangement. In fact, some people who mentor me don't realize they're mentoring me just because I'm closely observing them. I'm like watching them and looking at what they're doing and potentially what they're not doing. So I can learn what to do, but I can also learn what not to do. So I guess again, in conclusion with the mentoring, get more than one. Have a different person to turn to for different aspects and different issues. And so internally, you might want to talk more about corporate opportunities, but externally, you might want to talk about things like your personal brand. You might want to talk about some of your little idiosyncrasies and whether or not you're comfortable, how you perform in a communication setting, whether you're managing your stakeholders well. That's always better with external mentors. And of course, if you don't know anyone whom you look up to, you can obviously hire coaches, because I guarantee you that everyone in a C-level position very likely has an executive coach to point out the little blind spots that can smoothen things over. Anything to add?
Lots. Mentoring and sponsoring is one of our pet topics as well, because but my company doesn't have a mentoring program.
It doesn't have to have one.
Yeah, so don't worry about it. Okay, you can have your own unofficial mentor. Like what Yan said, a lot of times we just observe people. You don't have to ask the person, can you be my mentor, please? No, just observe them, okay? In terms of what do they do right, what are they doing right? Like for instance, if I see my boss and he's handling the huge mega customers with such confidence and aplomb, how does he do it, You can ask him. And how do you do it? And just the little snippet is mentoring itself. So you don't have to sit there and get asked for questions. You can learn by osmosis. You absorb and you learn. And also there are negative mentors as well. If you see like one of your colleagues who's really bad at handling this, or a boss in another department is doing things wrong, they could be your negative mentors, and as in what not to appreciate. It's like, oh no, I don't want to be like that guy. We jokingly refer to these people as D-mentors. Okay, yeah, Harry Potter joke. See what I did there? Okay, so anyway, what's happening is that you can have as many mentors as you can. In fact, for myself, I have many mentors too. And what's interesting is for some of my mentors, I'm mentoring them too. So it's a cross-mentoring thing, because I talk to them about, for instance, about career strategy. They mentor me with regards to the technology. In fact, I have a younger mentor who teaches me about all the technology bits on digital marketing, social media, which Dinosaur Adrian. I did not say Boomer Adrian. I did not say Boomer Adrian. That's to kill me. Doesn't know as much of, and I recognize it. See, so but he doesn't know he's mentoring me. He thinks he's just talking down to me, but it's okay. I'm learning, so he's a mentor too. Okay, one quick word about sponsors. If you look at your own career in your organization, how you've had that acceleration over the years, it's usually because you had a sponsor, wasn't it? And if you look at the people who've been very successful, they're usually put along by a sponsor as well. So get a sponsor. One caveat though, when you got to make sure that even though you have a good sponsor, you make sure that you cover your ground, because if that sponsor falls into disrepute, or if he retires, voila, you're in trouble. You got a big mark on your back. Okay, so use the sponsor strategy cautiously. So
the baseline with the sponsorship, again, it's back to you doing good work, consistently deliver above expectations. That's a given.
Yeah, and of course,
if your work is good, no one can touch you.
Not always,
Agree to disagree.
Okay, anyway, and the last one we're going to talk about today is skilling up. Okay, if you ask yourself a question, why are you being paid a salary? Why do you go to work? You don't just go to work for the free coffee, okay, obviously. We go to work because we create value. We create value via the skills that we bring. In fact, even when you hire a plumber to fix your toilet choke, it's gonna be because of his skill. And why would you pay someone top dollar if he cannot solve your problem in a way that's professional, quick, and effective? So it is important for you to understand that the basis of your employment is your skills and the value you create using those skills. In fact, some time back, I posted a very interesting article which says that your monthly salary is actually your company's subscription for your skills.
Yes.
Okay, so every month they're paying you for the skills that you bring to the table. Now, and you have to ask yourself a very important question. What skills do I have? Are these skills generic? If I were to ask you now, what's your superpower? I'll give you 15 seconds to think. What's your superpower? I'm really good at uncomfortable silence. Yeah. So we have oftentimes it's tough. And you know, when you ask yourself a question, what's my skill? You might come up with something generic like, oh, I'm a top salesman, or oh, I'm a great project manager. But it's so generic. Your colleague next to you is going to say the same thing at that job interview for your boss's position.
It makes you replaceable.
Very, very true. So what exactly are your skills? You must be able to articulate your skills very sharply, put it in context, and being able to communicate to everyone that you are skilled in that area. But even then, it's not enough to just talk about the skills that you have on hand. You also need to talk about skills that you need. So how do you increase your skill sets? Number one way you can do it is what we call upskill. What upskill doesn't just mean you sign up for a new course here and there. Upskill means look at what your boss can do. Maybe he can talk to the board. Maybe he can manage huge mega clients. What are the skills he can do that you cannot do? Learn from him, observe, and figure out and look at it as how do I prepare myself for his role. So think about how do I upskill myself to be as good as my boss. Second way we can look at it is cross-skilling. You want to talk about cross-skilling?
Cross-skilling is learning skills that others are doing in your organization that you're not currently doing. So you're picking up adjacent skill sets based on the work that they are doing. And that helps you to, broaden. If there's anything that happens, you are able to step up or step in. That's my definition.
That's very true. So if you think about it, if there are 5 people in your team having very generic skill sets, say 5 programmers, okay, and then the company says, okay, it's time to downsize. And you're looking for people to downsize. Let's put it this way. The person who can prove that, hey, I can do my programming and I am able to manage clients and I am not just a programmer, I'm not just a project manager, I'm actually the customer success delivery person because I can handle soup to nuts. Guess who's not likely to be fired or retrenched because you seem to be bringing more value. So skill up. Okay, and of course, most importantly, I want you to talk about deep skilling too, which means that wherever area you're in, focus, build,
become an expert.
Become an expert in that space. So look at the 5. These are the 5 ways you can accelerate your career. And what's really important for you is to think in terms of longevity in your organization. Okay, how can you create value, and how do you network your way around, and what sort of internal branding you can have, and think about opportunity. I want you to start thinking in terms of very entrepreneurially within your organization.
Yes.
Okay.
Intrapreneur, they call them.
Intrapreneurial.
Shall we answer questions?
Okay. No. Let's jump on this first. Okay. So one of the things that we do is we run a workshop, as I said, and even though we've been running the Career Clarity workshop for Crossroaders in the past for the past 2 years very successfully. Okay, we have graduated more than 200 plus people already, or clients. Some of you are already on the webinar right now. We are launching a new series which is called the Career Acceleration Workshop. It's a half-day workshop where we talk about things like this in greater detail. We're going to cover topics with regards to how do you manage your bosses, how do you manage the internal politics, how do you look at the landscape internally, and how do you navigate, as well as executive presence. Now, executive presence is something we might talk about later in one of our future webcasts, because it's a huge topic in itself. People ask us, what exactly is executive presence? Our simplest thing is, you look at Obama when he walks across the room. that's executive presence.
Yes.
When you look at Michelle Obama, just walking by, that's executive presence.
Look at Donald Trump. Toilet paper on his shoe.
Yeah, okay, so Donald Trump just standing up doing nothing, okay, so so that's the difference in executive presence. And executive presence basically has it's been shown to affect up to 60-70% of your promotional prospects because of executive presence. So we run a half-day workshop on it, and what's happening is that we are having a special promotion now. The acceleration workshop which we are running half day in our office, plus one coaching session, one-on-one session with either Yen or myself. Normal price is $698, but for this, if you're on webinar now, drop us an email. We can send you more information, and it's only for $498 for limited time only. Okay, because this is a new launch, and we've been doing this coaching on and off for individuals who have successfully gotten their promotions. But now we want to move it on to a bigger scale into a form of a workshop. So contact us at the end of this, and we will share more with you. Okay. So we're going to answer the questions now, and let's see what are the questions we have.
This is from Lorraine. What's your advice to those who wish to remain in their job but has to deal with difficult boss and colleagues? There are lots and lots of books on this. We're not going to be able to answer how to handle, but one of the key things about managing upwards, specifically with difficult bosses, is to figure out why and what aspect, what's the agenda, what's going on with this boss that's making him behave a certain way. So sometimes what we see as anger or hostility hides a certain vulnerability. So it would help if you would speak to us specifically with an individual and to figure out what's going on and then manage accordingly. So again, to see behind what's the emotion that's causing the behavior. There's a lot of psychology with regard to that, and then after that there's a lot of strategies. For example, how to say no by saying yes. Again, it's very tricky, but it is easily done if you learn the tricks. And I can talk to you separately about that. I can't read Jeff's handwriting. Sorry, we're getting a message. I think it's another question. Okay.
I want to answer that question as well,
yes.
Lorraine. Hi, Lorraine. To answer your question as well, and it's quite pertinent because a lot of us quit our jobs because of our bosses. So you have two options. The person needs to think. If you have a boss who's making life difficult for you, you have two options basically. Number one, is the job worth hanging on to? Do you love your job still? Do you love the company you're with? If the answer is yes, then you got to figure out how to manage up. Sometimes the strategy is to outlast, outplay, outwit, but most importantly, outlast the job and outlast the boss, and he gets out. And then I know people who have outlasted many bosses in your previous company. Okay, so no names to be mentioned, but yes, you can sometimes outlast them. But if you find that this guy is really too political, you don't want to do it, then okay, fine, you got to move on. Time to look for another job. Okay, next question.
Okay, the next question is what if there's no more scope for growth or under the current boss?
What if there's no more scope? Bernard asks, what if there's no more scope for growth for under an organization or the current boss? Well, if the organization is resistant for your ideas, number one, bring up ideas to the organization. Maybe we can do this, maybe we can do that. Rather than being reactive, be proactive. But if it comes to a point where no matter what you bring up, they're going to say, oh, sorry, you don't have a budget for this. Especially if you're at L&D, for instance, learning and development, and you want to have new topics which you think are relevant, and if the boss doesn't appreciate you or the organization just says, sorry, there's no money, we can't do it, computer says no, then maybe it's time for you to consider moving. But
be strategic with your movement and your choices.
Yes.
Make sure that the next role has got more to offer than your current role. And then that goes back to how you would then network effectively and strategically to find that sort of opportunity for yourself.
Yeah. Our advice also is talk to a career coach, talk to someone like us who's been there, done that in the trenches. Even if we can't offer you the perfect solution, the fact that we are debating and having a robust discussion helps a lot as well.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. How do you manage upwards with senior leaders without seeming to suck up? Are there practical tips on managing office politics? And answer is yes. There are many practical tips. But I don't think we can cover it in our platform today.
Yeah. So it is an interesting topic, which is what we call managing up.
Managing up.
Which we delve very deep into during our career agility workshops.
Yeah.
Okay. So we want to. It's a huge topic, but yes, you have to manage up. You know, a lot of times people talk about leadership, but leadership talks about managing sideways, managing your teams, managing your colleagues. But a lot of times people get pissed off their bosses by not managing their bosses properly. So you need to know how to manage up, and there are strategies involved for doing that.
Yeah.
Which we will cover during the career agility, the career acceleration workshops.
Okay, so Kim has a question about maternity. She's going on maternity leave, and there's going to be a big project, and she's going to miss out. Do you think you should start a business plan on what work to be done, follow up what my boss can expect, my involvement with the big launch? Okay, so this is a sensitive topic. It is absolutely your right to go off on maternity, and no, maternity leave is not a disadvantage. But yes, you should absolutely put your stamp on it before you go on leave, to ensure you document everything as much as possible, delegate where possible, and stay in touch after you have your baby. Seriously, having an adult conversation is going to be very helpful for your mental psyche as well. So while you are still recovering and you're doing all that you need to do to bond with your baby, maintain 1 or 2 hours in the afternoon that you can still contact the office, so that you can add I guess you can add your value and your comments, and to give guidance where necessary.
And you still want to leave your footprint there somehow,
Yes.
okay? Because I know this lady who went on a 4-month maternity leave, and when she came back, her desk wasn't even there. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, they basically told her that you've been transferred to another division, and 2 weeks later she was retrenched. And she was not even informed. So you don't want to maintain total absolute silence and go like radio silence and go, oh sorry, I'm on leave, you can't touch my leave, it's sacred. Okay, no, you still want to be on the radar, because honestly, if you disappear for 4 months and no one notices you're gone,
That's a bad sign.
that's a bad sign. Something's wrong with your value add to the organization. Okay?
Yeah, if they miss you while you're gone, that's always a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I know someone who is head of department who got rated poor, but other people were rated good. But the 4 rated HOD was upset, but he complains a lot. The CEO is nice and soft. The more colleagues like him. The poor performer? Okay, so it's a long message. The other 2 have smaller portfolio, but they're very loud and nasty. Wow.
Okay, so bottom line is, does it mean in an organization we need to be nasty and loud in order to get recognized by the bosses and appraisal rating?
If that's what your bosses expect, then that environment's really toxic. I'm not sure you want to stay. if seriously, if that's the expectation of performance, I'm not sure that's a great place to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions before we sign out? Because what's interesting is that this is our first podcast that we are doing, the first webcast, and we have had a high of 61 participants already, which is rather amazing. We're going to post it up, and if you want to distribute it, feel free to distribute it. But more importantly, if you have questions about accelerating your career, if you are at a career crossroad and you're trying to figure out what to do next, it's important for you to seek help, professional help, rather than go around in circles. So we've had clients who've tried to figure out on their own, and they only circle back to us 6 months later, and after they come through our process and come through our help, they say that, hey, what I should have done this earlier. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. The email, let me drop you our email address over here. Okay, info@careeragility.org.
There's one more question.
One more last question. One quick one. How can we best guide younger colleagues on their career path? Wow, Jonas, you're such a nice guy. It's good. It's part of leadership, right? You want to
It is a good that you care, but I think it's also best that you help them identify that they're the ones in the driver's seat. And so they need to also understand about where they want to go, and that's again, or you can send them to us. We can help them. It's about helping them gain that awareness that they are responsible for their own careers, just as you are responsible for yours.
And one thing interesting, Jonas, is that it all starts with a career conversation. Okay, how do you organize a career conversation? How do you talk to them? And also whether or not you are their direct boss. Because if you're not the direct boss, and their boss might be upset, why are you giving career advice to my guy? And then you're going to get into trouble.
Yeah.
So there are politics behind it. You got to be careful.
And if you're playing the internal mentor role, the other challenge about internal mentoring is that sometimes the internal mentor is in a conflicted situation. I know that for this specific individual, for example, that his next trajectory is outside the organization, but because I'm the internal mentor, and then I might have this conflict of interest because I would want this individual to stay, and so this is a sensitive topic, sensitive conversation. If this person doesn't belong to your team, do you encourage him to leave? Do you encourage?
No, I think you should leave your boss. He's an ass. You can't do that, right? So, anyway, okay. So you have to be very mindful of it. And one last question from Terry: how can we ask the company to value add to our own career? How can we ask our company to value add to our own career? Well, don't.
The company isn't responsible for your career.
Yes.
The company doesn't have to. It's not a living entity. Well, even if they are a proper entity, there's no emotion. There's very little care. We've seen so many loyal employees who have been let go after 20 years of loyal service, and the organization goes, well, sorry. And so it's a business transaction more than anything else. So it's up to you to try to see that value and then learn from it. So use the platform the organization provides to gain your visibility, to upskill, to deep skill, to learn more about your industry and to grow in your own career. That's how the company then adds value to your career.
Yeah, so what Yan is saying is take charge of your own career. Don't wait for the company to sponsor you for courses. Come on, do what's necessary, because don't forget.
Ask for it.
Yeah, you only have to ask for it, but your career is your asset, which continues to give dividends, and the dividends come in the form of your salary.
Yeah.
So please be mindful that you have to continually improve your assets in order to have yield bigger dividends. It's investment 101, right? So focus on that and take charge of your own career. Any last minute burning questions? Minute questions? Okay, I'm getting confused over here.
Tongue twisters.
Yeah. So
We have 10 minutes. Anyone? Or we can call it a day.
no questions. We're gonna call it a day. But before we go, we just want to thank everybody who's been here. It's been remarkable because we had 61 people who actually tuned into this, and even more who couldn't make it, who have requested recordings as well.
Yeah.
But what's important is that once again we want to reiterate what we're running our career acceleration workshop. If you want to get a promotion and you want to ensure that even if it's not a promotion you're gunning for, but you want to ensure how do I remain in my company because I love my company so much,
Talk to us.
talk to us, okay? We'll send you more information about our career acceleration workshops, and it includes one-to-one coaching session as well with us. So it's been a pleasure talking. Any last words, Yen?
Thank you so much for your time, people.
Yeah, and any questions, just email us, okay? In the meantime, have a good work week ahead. Stay safe, wear a mask, sanitize your hands. So thank you very much for watching our Career Agility Webcast series. The next one we're going to talk about something really exciting, and we have choice about talking about either about executive presence, talking about managing your bosses. Why don't you email us and tell us what you want, and we will
We'll
organize one around that, okay? Or hopefully the epidemic is over and you can come join us in the office too.
Yeah.
Have a good week ahead, and thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Take care.